How you doing, people? Welcome back to another ESO build video. Today is a brand new update for the Malcolm build, the Necromancer Tank Build, designed to build as much ulti as possible in the shortest space of time. Now, over time, this has been altered because ZOS has changed how some of the sets worked, but this is now in the best state it has ever been in, taking advantage of also 3 scribing skills, if you want to take advantage of those from the Gold Road chapter. If you don't worry, I've got some options for you anyway. But this is designed to build ulti very, very fast, so we can utilize our major vulnerability ultimate or any other ultimate of your choice. So, if you want to see more of this, stay tuned, it is coming right up. So, we're going to go into the stats first of all, and to do so, we need to put on some buffs. Yes, we have buffs. As you can see, there's loads of shapes going on there. So, we need to get this before the buffs run out. 12.7k max magicka, 49.1k max health, which will escalate dramatically, and 23.2k max stamina, which will also go up. 1,373 mag recovery, 749 health recovery, and 905 stamina recovery if the banner is turned off. That, however, is different, so it depends on how you want to play. Recovery can go up dramatically if you need it to, but mag recovery is already in a decent state, and stamina recovery doesn't matter what we're blocking anyway. So we're going to put this back on and keep our buffs running. There are rules to those in the passives, we'll get over that later. Spell damage and weapon damage are relatively low, and they need to be because we're a tank. We're not really pushing for that, although we can get extra as we go with buffs and bonuses from your group. Spell crit is also quite low. Being a tank, it's not going to be that high, unless, of course, you build for it, which we have not. Now, our resistances are sitting on 34.5k both sides. We are actually capped resistance-wise. We have one skill that basically does it all for us, and we're done. Don't even worry about that. If you've got the wrong traits in your gear, it's not going to make a huge difference because, again, as long as you're over 33k, you're done. 64 points into max health. We are using flat max health, max stamina food. I do not recommend anything else. It's entirely to you if you choose to do something else, but I don't recommend it. The extra recovery for stamina is going to be redundant because we're going to be blocking, and the extra recovery for anything else is going to make your health and stam go down. Bear in mind, they are going to go up with the build the more we're in combat, so this is absolutely fine. Make sure you're maintaining heavy attacks, however, because you're going to need that to keep your stamina up, as any tank would. We're using the Atronach Munda Stone, and the rest of the buffs and bonuses are irrelevant. We'll go over those later. So, I'm going to go over the skills in detail within reason. I'm going to try and skip through them a little bit, but I'm going to at least explain why they're there. The actual details for the skills are in the class guides and the updates channel playlist for changes to the Necromancer along the way if you need extra info, but I'm going to go over these in a way that hopefully makes sense, but it's not too much information all at once. So, first skill, Bone Tyrant skill line, you want to get Necrotic Potency as soon as possible. This is really simple, it goes on your bar, and if you consume a corpse on the ground for free, you will get 6 ultimate per corpse, up to a maximum of 6. That means, yes, if there's 7 on the ground, you can press it twice. Now, the more you consume, the longer the duration of the 2-second heal per corpse is. So if you have 6 on the ground, it's 12 seconds. If it's 3 on the ground, it's 6 seconds. You get the idea. It's a heal over time, but if you consume 6 targets, and you get the longest duration for that heal, and then you consume a couple more, it will overwrite with the lower timer of the healer. So if you want to maintain this, take advantage of the long duration, and then pick up some more ulti afterwards, or if you're not really struggling for the heal, just suck up all the ulti off the floor. This scales off your maximum health. The higher the health, the bigger the heal. And while slotted, you take 3% reduction to all damage. This is going to be absolutely insane and essential for the build. Do not fail to put this on your bar. Ruinous Scythe is in the same skill line. This is our main heal. Basically, you could use the magical one, which gives you a slightly bigger heal and a heal over time. We don't want to do that. We're taking advantage of the stamina one on purpose because it's easier to maintain. Recovery is great for our magicka, but we want to maintain something manually, and we can heavy attack to keep our resources up for this. But above all, this applies bleed, which applies a hemorrhage status effect, guaranteed. And if you stack that 3 times, that will be at its peak and it will do the most damage. If you're in Infinite Archive, that's really important. If you're in everyday content, not so much. But alongside doing that, if you just use this once, you will knock all the enemies off balance, allowing people to take back double resources from a heavy attack, yourself included, so you've got control there, and they'll get more damage from their heavies, and so will you. In the meantime, you heal for each enemy hit. So the first one will be a large heal, and the rest will add a smaller heal on top of it, and it will all calculate into one. The higher your health, the bigger the heal. The more targets, the bigger the heal. You get the idea. Swing this in a crowd, you won't die. Knock them off balance, big heal, done. Next is Pierce Armor, your main taunt from the Sword and Board skill line. Starts off as Puncture Morpher to Pierce Armor. This will debuff the target with Minor Breach and Major Breach combined. So nearly 9k resistances removed from the target so your group can hit harder. But this also aggroes the target for 15 seconds. Bad tanks let it go to 0. Good tanks reapply this every 10 to 12 seconds because it's about maintaining it. If there is a slight gap in aggro, it could turn around and hit anyone in the face. You need to control the enemy. Never, ever let this run out. Yes, I know there's a taunt. This is misworded, but there's a taunt immunity. It's false. There isn't a taunt immunity. There is a taunt lock. So if you bounce backwards and forwards between somebody else, taunt from them, taunt from you, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, 5 times within 5 seconds, then there'll be a taunt lock, where the last person that taunted will have aggro for 5 seconds. You are very unlikely to do that unless someone is trolling, but that is a feature that exists in the game, and there's a video about it on the channel in the beginner series, so you can go check that out if you want to know more about it. But basically, if you're swapping targets with somebody else, as long as you don't spam backwards and forwards within 5 seconds 5 times, you'll be fine. On your own, however, you can spam it as much as you want. Doesn't make a difference. Doesn't exist. Leashing Throw. This is the first ability on the skill bar that is from the Scribing skill line. So I'm going to explain how to make this in a moment, but this basically does damage initially and pulls the target. This is your pull. But a pull can taunt temporarily. You can't overlap a taunt like you can with the Pierce Armor and reapply it. It will not listen to you if it is A, already taunted by somebody else, or B, taunted by you on this pull. It's just, I've got its attention for now. That's all that is. So you pull it in, it's aggroed, great. You heal off of it, and it applies Major Vitality at the same time, which means all the healing that you receive from any heals that you do are stronger. So initially pulling a target will heal you, and that buff will actually apply to it straight away. This can then be applied afterwards if you need a big heal, which stacks with this bonus. You get the idea. Pull and buff and heal all at once. Now, bear in mind, if you don't have the Scribing skill section open because you don't have Gold Road, then of course you can go into the Fighters Guild skill line and you can take advantage of Silver Leash. This is going to cost the same roughly, but it's not going to have the same effect. It can pull and taunt, and it can debuff them with a snare ability if you like for 30% of their movement speed, but it's not going to give you the heal, it's not going to give you Major Vitality. So these two options here cost the same, have the same functionality, but they don't have the extra benefit. So this is actually better than this for the most part. But bear in mind, if you do have this instead of this, if you end up getting kills on this bar, you can actually get ultimate back per kill. It's unlikely that they're going to be from you, but it is possible. So it's all swings and roundabouts. Silver Leash until you can get this, and I'll show you how to make it. So, what you need unlocked, obviously the scribing system in Gold Road. There is a scribing guide on the website as well. If you just go to cyanidgaming.com, use the search bar and put scribing. It's there. Or use the drop-down menus. Shield Throw. Pull. Sage's Remedy for the heal. Scaling off of maximum health, by the way. So more health the better. And Vitality for Major Vitality. That's how you make that skill. Nice and easy. Now, next up is your banner. Now, this is brand new to update 44, so if you're in update 43 right now, don't worry, you're getting it in a week. This is quite simple. This gets activated or not. If you don't activate it, it doesn't function. If you do activate it, it's free and stays with you as long as you don't swap bars. But if you do swap bars, you can double bar it and it stays with you, as you can see. So, how does this work? Basically, I'm going to show you how to make this one. You go to your support skill line in the Alliance War area. This is where it's going to belong, by the way. Restore resources. Now this, within an 8-meter radius for you and your group, as long as people are inside this banner's effect, will have all of their abilities reduced in cost by a whopping 8%. And yes, that does stack with other stuff, obviously multiplicatively. This actually is a reduction to cost benefit. And this helps with the build quite a lot. If you're using it without the banner, you will notice a difference. Now, class mastery, and this is crucial. It is very difficult to apply this particular script on any other skill unless you're spamming, because the duration is 5 seconds. Like, you have to apply it, and then 5 seconds later it's gone. Apply it, 5 seconds later it's gone. You have to keep spamming it. Well, the banner, as long as it's doing what it should be doing, and the effects are being taken advantage of, and you're in combat, this will stay with you forever. So basically what you need to do, once every 3 seconds, you will check to see if there's any corpses. And if there are, you will increase your health, stamina, and magicka, your bars go up, for 10 whole seconds based on each corpse within range. And this can stack up to 10 times, so you can end up with a 20% bonus. So while we're sitting on 49k max health right now, that can go up a lot. And that counts for when you're in your Goliath mode as well. We can actually go over 100k in a crowd. But while you're in combat and there's no corpses nearby, you will create a corpse. So it will constantly check to see if there's any corpses. If there are, you'll get a bonus. If there aren't, you'll make one, which means that you can then consume it with your necrotic potency. Even in a fight with no corpses, even if your pet hasn't run out to be able to be a corpse right now, you can make them happen. This is ulti building heaven. Big resources in a crowd or on a single target, and constant flow of resources as far as your ulti is concerned. Not to mention a heal. And of course, minor heroism. Your group and you get minor heroism on tap. That's crucial. We're an ulti building tank. So that's how you build that. You double bar it and just keep it active. Really, really simple stuff. Now, the next skill, of course, is the main ultimate on the front bar. Now, you can take advantage of the block ulti if you prefer and put this on the back, just in case you're in an emergency situation and you want to res people or just have free blocks, whatever. But essentially, we're taking advantage of Glacial Colossus. This is quite simple. It's in the Gravelord skill line. It costs 175 ultimate at the moment for us. And if you fire this, you will cause major vulnerability to affect all targets hit, and they will take more damage for 17 seconds. This particular build, based on the way it is set up, can recast this every 17 seconds if you time everything perfectly without any extra influence in the room. However, in actual content where you're fighting more than one target and there's bodies on the floor and there's loads and loads of stuff going off and you're getting hit, because yeah, some of our stuff requires us to get hit, you can fire this almost every 10. So big crowds of enemies, smash them down, next pull, smash another one, next pull, smash another one, on the boss, constantly firing it, or firing other ultimates if you prefer. You could use this and then overlap it with a Warhorn if you really want. There's loads of different opportunities for spamming different ultis, but you can build ultimates very, very fast. So this is obviously a no-brainer. Don't need a set for it, it's just a skill. Spirit Guardians on the back bar is our main heal. Basically, just keep this active at all times and it will keep you alive. It will also heal allies if they are low health, and it will give you a chance to absorb in the pet's health, actually, not yours, absorb 10% of the damage you take. Actually transfer it, like Guard. And it creates a corpse if it dies, or when it dies, or when you recast it while it's on low timer. So you've got an extra corpse in the room for that. Basically, just keep this active all the time, and you will be fine. That will stay with you. So, next up, of course, is our resistance bonus. This was changed, and there is a video about it in the playlist for General ESO, I think. This comes from the Bone Tyrant skill line, and is your major resistance and minor resistance buff. And as long as you maintain this, your pets cost less. So our healing pet costs much, much less, not just from activating it from passives, but also having this active at the same time. And if it's low on timer and you reapply it, or if it actually runs out, it also drops a corpse if you're in combat. So you've got two things here that can drop corpses, and we've got the banner that drops corpses all the time if there isn't one already. And obviously all the different corpses can push this to give you more resources and higher health. So if we're maxed out, we can actually go way close to 60k health and 30k stam. But if you're in the Goliath mode, then your health can go way over 100k. Roughly averaging around 96 to 97, depending on the group and the fight you're in. But if you're in a big pull and there's lots and lots of bodies, you can go really, really high. Speaking of which, obviously, we're going to come to that in a moment. That is your ultimate on the back bar just for emergencies. Binding Contingency is next. Technically speaking, if you don't have the scribing system, you can take advantage of Totem of Agony, and I would recommend that for people that are new to the Necromancer if you haven't gone into this scribing stuff yet. You can have this on the bar anyway if you choose not to have the two-hander execute skill. We'll come to that in a moment. But if you don't have this for now, then of course you can take advantage of it and put that there as a constant debuff for damage done to the enemies. They do get feared, i.e. stunned, and there is a synergy attached to this, but what you have to consider is that if you pull enemies in, they now can't be stunned, so they don't work together in conjunction with their main stun or fear mechanic. So if you pull something in, this won't actually hold it in place. So we've taken advantage of a scribing skill to allow us some immobilization. Again, however, if you just want it for the debuff, perfectly fine. But this skill here, the third scribing skill, go into the Ulfsild's Contingency skill, major skills. Immobilize for a whopping 6 seconds, highest immobilization in the game. Alongside reduction to damage taken. So yes, while this is active, and for 8 seconds, you will actually take less damage alongside the other damage mitigation bonuses we have. Then at the bottom, you want to turn it into minor vulnerability. So we've got an area of effect, immobilize for 6 seconds, which is just one off the cooldown, so you can constantly basically chain immobilize enemies. alongside a long-durated minor vulnerability and reduction to damage. If you apply this every single time you wanted to immobilize something and hold it there for a long period of time, the mitigation bonus actually has infinite uptime. Why is this important? Well, let's get on our ultimate so we can show this. Over here. If you look at the enemies on the ground, you can see no debuffs on them. If you fire this, however, wrong button, you can see minor vulnerability, 21 seconds. But major vulnerability, 17 seconds. So we've got both minor and major at all times on all of those, alongside off balance. Easy peasy. And you protect yourself at the same time. So that is a crucial skill if you have scribing unlocked, if you have Gold Road. If you don't, again, what you put there is up to you. Now, the next skill is Reverse Slice. This is a flex slot depending on how you want to play. If you want to use the ulti building full version, you want this to be Reverse Slice because it is very important towards the gear we're using. However, if you don't want to use a two-hander on the back, you can use Sword and Board on both bars and swap this skill out for Agony Totem. Then you can have both the immobilization skill and you can have the Major Cowardice skill. That is a choice for you. I would highly recommend this, but of course, if you want to do the other, your call. Reverse Slice is on the build because we need to be able to utilize this specific skill. Basically, when enemies are low, spam the crap out of this, and the whole crowd will start losing more and more health because you'll get stronger and stronger and stronger. With the setup we're using, this will actually generate ultimate. The skill doesn't normally, but it will for us. Obviously, make sure that you're using this sparingly and not just spamming it crazy. You do still need to maintain aggro, you still need to maintain control, and you need to maintain resistance bonuses and heal. But if you're in a safe spot where you can spam this a few times, when they're low health, definitely do so. You're going to be able to spam your ulti much, much faster. Banner is double barred, obviously. Ravenous Goliath. This is in the Bone Tyrant skill line. This is your ultimate. Morph it from Bone Goliath transformation to Ravenous Goliath. The other one does bash damage and it actually scales off of weapon and spell damage. This one actually does loads of damage in area of effect and heals you for all the damage done. So you turn into a massive Goliath, you're basically not going to die. Based on the way that we're set up, you look at it almost 100k health in a crowd, you are very, very powerful and you can kind of just survive indefinitely for the next 20 seconds without any trouble. The trick is, however, is to understand how your ulti works. If you use this as an oh shit button and you're enjoying it, great, but you can't build ulti while you're inside of this. So be very careful how you use certain skills and parts of the build while you're in here because you don't want it to be not available when you switch out. But God mode button activated. Now, the easiest way for most people to set this up would be block ulti on the front, Colossus on the back, but just in case you want it, if you don't need block ultis to pick people up, you can, of course, go Colossus on the front, Goliath on the back. Again, if you do choose to, you have got access to animate blast bones so that you can pick up dead bodies and then fire blast bones around the room and make more corpses and suck up more ulti. That is an emergency ultimate, but you can build that incredibly fast, so you could slot that there if you preferred. Lots of choices, up to you. Now we're going to go into the passives. These are important, and again, they are in the class guide if you need them, and they are all over the channel in lots of different areas as far as weapon skill lines are concerned, how to level them, etc, etc. But these are the ones you're going to need. So, reusable parts, if you use one of your pets, the next one that you cast will be cheaper. That does stack alongside of our resistance bonus that we've got here, so obviously that's a nice passive to have pretty much all the time. Every time you recast one, it just makes the next one cost less, so that kind of overlaps itself. Increases critical strike chance against low health targets. That's a 10% increase per skill from this skill line on the bar. Front bar we have 1, back bar we have none. It's not crucial, but I mean, if we did want to swap this out and get more damage out of Reverse Slice, which is, I mean, it's nice, then of course you can put Glacial on the back so you can guarantee it there. Again, that is up to you. If not, then you don't have it on the back at all. Extra pen bonuses while having a Gravelord ability active. Of course, that's not really going to be too beneficial for us because most of the time this will be fired and then dead. But, I mean, have the passive nonetheless. And increases your damage done with damage over time effects. Hemorrhage is being applied, that will work. Bone Tyrant, obviously you want to get these. Whenever an enemy you are in combat with dies within 28 meters of you, even if you didn't kill it, you get 666 magic and stamina back. So the more kills in the room, the more resources you gain. Reduce the damage you take from damage over time abilities by 15% while you have a Bone Tyrant ability active. So all you need to do is have your resistance buff on and you take less damage from damage over time. Easy peasy. Increase your healing received by 2% for each one slotted. Again, that's a nice passive to take advantage of, but depends on the bar you're on. Back bar is 4%. Front bar is also 4%, I believe. We'll double check that. Yes, they are. So we've got 2 on each. Increase your max health by 1250. That's just for being a Necromancer. Enjoy. When you have a negative effect on you, your healing done is increased by 8%. So if you've got dots on you, you take less damage, but you also heal more. While you have a living death ability slotted, your critical strike chance on all healing abilities are increased by up to 20%, depending on how low the health is on the target. Technically speaking, on the front bar, we don't have any, but of course on the back bar, we do. So when you're on the back bar, you will have an increased crit chance for your heals there. When you consume a corpse, you generate 10 ulti. This can happen once every 16 seconds. Free bonus there, take it. And when you have a sacrificial bone, skeletal mage, or spirit mender active, your health, magicka, and stamina recovery are increased. Which is why at the moment, you'll see my recovery is X, Y, and Z. And then if we activate the pet and keep it running, it is higher. Of course, if you've got the banner active, it will be less. If you've got a potion active, that also contributes. As you can see, 1.796 for magicka and now 1.373. There is a difference with the banner active, but again, it's not a huge negative to the build. The magicka is the one we're really focused on, just pace it. And since our heal is stamina, we're not going to be spamming magicka stuff so much. We'll just use this for pinning, this for resistances, and this for pet. So we're in a good spot. Magicka recovery is pretty much done. Just enough. Now, we are using a two-hander and sword and board. You want to get every single one of these passives. I'm not going to go over them in too much detail, but you are going to want to take them all. This will do splash damage if you do light or heavy attacks, which you should do. We have got a sword, which gives us more weapon and spell damage on the back bar. You can change it to any of the different ones you want. It's entirely up to you. It's not really that important for this particular build, but if you do want to get the flat bonus, then of course get the sword. Reduces the cost of those skills as well. When you complete a fully charged heavy attack, you actually increase the next hit by 10% damage done. So if you heavy hit, they'll go into a state where they just constantly do more damage. And increases your stam recovery by 30% for killing something for 10 seconds. So if you kill something, high stam recovery bonus. Yes, that does carry over to the front as long as it's still active. Sword and board, these reduce the cost of your skills, increase your damage from bashing, reduce the cost from bash, reduce the amount of damage you can block, and all that good stuff as well. On a sword and board, obviously, you do get the 20% mitigation, as you do with the ice staff. On the two-hander, you don't. There's a champion point passive called Bracing Anchor that we have taken that effectively makes you block just like you would with a sword and board. The reduction to cost isn't there, but a reduction to damage is. However, since we've got that, on the back bar, it feels like a sword and board. On the front bar, we actually have more mitigation. That's if you use sword and board and two-hander. You might want a double bar sword and board, in which case you've got double on both. We are taking advantage of nothing but heavy armor. All heavy. We don't need these two because the sets we're using are all heavy anyway. You could manipulate this with the monster sets if you really, really wanted to, and that would actually give you a bit of a benefit to stam and mag, but it's not going to do anything extra to your health. Our resistances are capped anyway, so you could go 5-1-1 if you really, really wanted to, but it's not actually necessary. You might as well just take advantage of the full heavy armor passives. So we've got resistance bonuses, health recovery, and return from resources if we get hit. Capping that out is actually really, really nice. Taking 2 off the top is a bit of a loss. Extra health, extra resources back if you heavy attack. That's the most important reason to go 7 heavy on this one because you are going to need to do that. And of course, healing received. We are not using Fighters Guild passives unless, of course, you take Silver Leash instead of the Shield Throw. If you've got Scribing, get Shield Throw. If not, take this and you will want the passives. Undaunted, obviously, if you take Synergy, you get resources back. And for each type of armor piece you wear, each type of armor weight even, you will get resources improved. So you'll have more health, magic, and stamina. Yes, again, 5-1-1 would make this go up to 6, but we don't need it because it's going to negatively influence the rest of the stuff we're doing. Nord. We are a Nord. Increase max health and frost resistance. Increase max stamina. And when you take damage, which can't be shown on the dummy, you get 5 ulti once every 10 seconds. And increases your resistances. As you can see, our resistances are slightly over cap, which is why we could get away with 5-1-1, but I wouldn't recommend it because it negatively impacts the heavy stuff. But if you wanted to, you could for a small increase to your mag and stam. Really easy to hit all these caps with this particular race. Bear in mind, you can use any race you like, but you are going to lose 2.6k resistances, which means you will have to find those within your traits. Choice is yours, however. Medicinal use. We are using potions like it is going out of fashion, so you don't technically need medicinal use. We are going to use them off their cooldown. But if you don't use your potions, you will not take advantage of your recovery bonuses, and you will suffer. If they sit there doing nothing, you're not using the build properly at all, and you are going to burn through potions on this build. Much like you would with the feed build, if you've been looking at that, the Nightblade Healer that was released recently, you need to always make sure that you're popping your potions. But you need to be active in paying attention to when you should use them. Normally, if it's grey, great. If it's not, pop it. This one, you need a 1 second gap from when it's finished to when you use it. And that will make more sense when we get into the gear, which is coming up now. So, Drake's Rush on the front bar, sword and board. Now, if you don't want to use a two-hander, you can't take advantage of that particular set that we're using on the back bar. That's perfectly fine and up to you, but that will mean you need to sword and board this on both bars. But we are using a different set on purpose. Sword and board on the front bar and any body pieces apart from shoulder and helmet, because the whole set is heavy, as is the second set we're using. So the order doesn't really matter, but for the purpose of demonstration, we'll put them on the jewelry. 2 healthy, sorry, that's wrong. 1 healthy, 2 infused, with reduction to cooldown on potions. That will give us minus 8 second cooldown, minus 8 second cooldown, and a mag recovery bonus with some health. That is very, very important for the next set. Before we get to the next set, basically all you need to do is bash an enemy, and you and up to 3 other group members within 15 meters will get major heroism for 12 seconds, getting 3 ulti every 1.5 seconds. This stacks with minor heroism as well, which gives you 1 ulti every 1.5 seconds. So every 1.5 seconds, we're getting an extra 4 ultimate guaranteed, and so is your small group. In a trial, obviously that's going to bounce around a bit, but in a dungeon, that's guaranteed the whole group done. This can happen once every 18 seconds, so keep an eye on the timer because you've got a 6-second gap. If you're in the Infinite Archive and you get extended favor, basically you've got infinite uptime on this. However, there's your minor and major from your banner and your set. That's that covered. This set is where the potions kick in, which is why we've got reduction to cooldown and why I said be careful. Health, armor, and health. This is our cases. Whenever you drink a potion while in combat, you and 3 other members, so in a trial that'll bounce around, but you'll get it as well. And in a dungeon, everyone will get it. You and 3 other group members will get 44 ultimate, and this can happen once every 30 seconds. So, pop a potion. Carefully pay attention to this. You have 29 second cooldown. This set will only fire once every 30 seconds. So when your potion has run out, count for 1 second completely clear, and then pop your potion. They need to be fired every 30 seconds minimum. Do not fire it any quicker, because then you'll have to wait for another 30 seconds to fire this again. But that is crucial. So minor and major heroism for ulti regen, alongside your passive regen for your being in combat and doing a light or heavy attack, alongside 44 ulti every 30 seconds, alongside decisive, which means every single source of ultimate that you gain can have the chance to give you 1 more ultimate. And then on the monster helmet and shoulders, we've got blood spawn. Granted, the resistance bonus from this is going to overcap us quite a lot. It's not a negative, it's not a positive. That just means that if we don't have a resistance buff on them, now it might fill the gap a little bit. But every 5 seconds, you could proc this set if you're taking damage. If you do, you get resistance bonuses, and you also get 13 ultimate. So as a Nord, you get 5 ultimate back every 10 seconds in content, which is quite nice. But with Bloodspawn, if this fires exactly on cooldown, you'll actually get another 26 ultimate during that time period. That also means that over 30 seconds, that's 26 times 3, alongside the 44, alongside, you get where we're going with this. That's a lot of ultimate. It's really bloody easy to build it. Now, trait-wise, if you're a Nord, you don't want this reinforced. You just want to go sturdy on absolutely bloody everything. But if you're not a Nord, then you want to go with reinforced on the chest and reinforced on the helmet and possibly even on the shoulder. Now, the final weapon is on the back bar, and this is why we have reverse slice. We can add some execute damage in a crowd, which is quite nice, but this is the reason for it overall. You don't need perfected, it just adds stamina. So that's redundant. If you have it, great. If you don't, get the basic version. Go on normal, you can go in a small group and go and do it. But when you deal damage with reverse slash, you generate up to 12 ulti based on how much execute bonus damage it dealt. So, the lower the health of the target, the more damage that skill does. The lower the health of the target, the more ulti you gain per swing. And this is decisive as well, which means all the other sources of ulti and this that could generate ultimate get 1 extra each if you're lucky. You can actually fill your ultimate very, very fast by just light attack spam, light attack spam, light attack spam, as long as you have got control of the group of enemies. Or the boss, whatever. Be careful of your survival, because you are going to have to make sure that you are not completely open when you're swinging this. But if you do use this in conjunction with everything else, your ultimate regeneration is fucking stupid. Anyway, stamina glyph on there so that when your light attack hit, when it procs, you get stamina back. And of course, we've got healthy on every single item apart from the shields, which are both stamina. We've got a really good bonus of health versus stamina on this particular setup. If you go all health all the way through, you will lack a bit of stamina and it becomes a bit tricky to maintain. But if you have it as it is now, it's a really, really good balance. You can actually even put some more stamina on some of these pieces if you really want to. But the way that we're set up, this is absolutely solid. And with the banner firing off our class script, we can have a really high stam bar and health bar in the middle of a fight. So, to recap, Drake's Rush on a sword and board on the front bar with 3 pieces anywhere else, but we've gone the jewelry. Jewelry, regardless of what it is, needs to be 2 infused with potion cooldown and 1 healthy with mag recovery, and everything is sturdy with healthy, unless of course you're not a Nord, in which case these top 3 need to be reinforced. Back bar is Asylum Greatsword with decisive and a stamina glyph. Again, if you don't want to use a two-hander, you won't benefit from this ulti building part of the build, but you can, of course, double bar Drake's Rush. Then that will give you the opportunity to drop the reverse slice and replace it with Totem of Agony, giving you a debuff to the enemy. Up to you, however. It's your game. You decide how you want to play it. Now, champion points. So, blue stuff is obviously quite important. Go into the damage mitigation tree here. Get all of these as soon as you can, and get Ironclad. Then come down to here and fill these 3. Duelist Rebuff, Endure and Resolve, and Unassailable. Unless, of course, you want to take advantage of this, which you can. Where have I put it? I've lost it. Here we go. This stamina one. So this will actually give you 1.3k max stamina. That is where we are right now, and it's a really healthy pool. But if you can manage your stamina and your sustainability is actually well controlled and you're happy with it, then you can take this out and swap for this. So Endure and Resolve, Duelist Rebuff, and Unassailable, generally speaking, for everyday use, if you can manage your resources. If you can't, swap this one out for this. The reason for this is because this one will affect your damage over time attacks that you receive, and we've got a buff to that already as a Necromancer, so we can afford to drop it if we really want to. The rest of it is all passives, so get them in your own time. This stuff, obviously, we want to take advantage of health and armor, and then recovery on top of that. Our recovery has been reduced a little bit, so buffing it a little bit at the same time is quite nice. Then you want to build towards this area here where we get more health. Obviously start here, fill in this one, and then get this. And then you want one more, and we've decided to take advantage of Bracing Anchor. 20% block mitigation on your sword bar allows us to have the same bonuses as the sword and board when it comes to mitigation. But on the sword and board bar, they stack, and we've got even more. So those are pretty nice. This is quality of life, but these are what I recommend. Higher quality loot from chests, everybody wants that. Longer duration on food, why not? You are popping potions left, right, and center. This has a 10% chance to not even consume one, even though you still get the benefits. And this makes you faster between fights. Doesn't really matter which green ones you pick, but those are quite nice to have. They're all quality of life. So, how do you play it? Well, this is quite simple, actually. So, the most important thing is to maintain your banner at all times if you can. So, you just activate it and leave it running. It's free, so that was easy, if you can. Keep your food up, obviously. But in combat, you want to make sure that you keep up your resistance buff and your pet. The rest of the time, you are literally just controlling the room. So if they're ranged targets, you pull them in. If they're close targets, you stab them. But either way, you want to keep them in your space. A tank running around the room like a headless chicken is an unsure tank, and your group can feel it. If you show confidence and control, your group are going to feel that, and they're going to be calmer, and they're going to perform much better. If you're panicking like a DPS running around like this, they don't know what the fuck you're doing. They're just as scared as you. They're trying to anticipate your moves. They can't. They're going to die. Control yourself as well as the room. Anyway, in combat, you are going to drop corpses all the time, which is great. Control these and immobilize them if they can be immobilized. Simple as that. If the enemies cannot be immobilized, of course, you can take advantage of the other totem, but that is entirely up to you and your content. When you've got control of these, just maintain your resistance and your pet. It's really that easy. The rest of the time, suck up corpses and make sure you bash one target at least once every 18 seconds to keep up your major heroism. Outside of that, you're going to be spamming ultis. So maintain aggro with off balance, minor vulnerability, and your pet and resistances. Suck up as much ulti as you can, and spam ultis when they're ready, because these are going to be quick. Off balance is for you in the group. Your heal is your shield throw and your scythe, depending on which one you use at the time. It's entirely up to you. And when the enemies go low, while doing all of that, do this. Maintain your taunts. Keep up your debuffs. If you've got nothing else to do right now, you need to be spamming this. That will make a huge difference, because that will allow you to build ulti faster and spam your Malcolm over and over and over and over. Even if you've got a Warhorn in the back and a Malcolm on the front, you can overlap the bloody things. Now, one more thing I will go over just again, this particular immobilization skill has to be wound up first. Whatever skill you fire next, even a dodge roll, will trigger it. So it's wind up, cast, wind up, cast, wind up, cast. As you can see there, they're affected. So activate it once to get it ready, and activate it or any other movement or skill afterwards, and it will refire. So you can actually spam it on top of itself. Not that you need to, but you can. Or you can use another skill and fire it. Takes a bit of getting used to, but that is the scribing skill there. We've already explained previously where to get it from and how to make it. That will also be on the website, and there'll be a link directly at the timestamp as well. Fashion, I guess. Here we go. So, we have got... rather cool set, actually. This is the Grave Grasp set. The whole lot. Helmet, chest, shoulders, legs, hands, feet, the lot. Everything is the same, but we've taken advantage of two particular colors. So we have got kind of a gray or a white color on the face, but the rest of it is this purple here, I think, which is pillager purple all the way through the middle, and then black all the way on the outside and the inside. So you can see this one here, I think it's Thalmor black, that one there on the out and in on every single one of these that can apply them. All the way down, even on the weapons. So pillager purple, or whatever it's called in the middle, and then black on the two outside colors. And he looks mega! And the banner only shows when the banner is active, so if you can't see a flag, do this. Anyway, people, hopefully that helped. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. Hopefully you now understand how to make this particular build work for you. I know in the build video itself, demonstrating how skills work is very, very difficult, and you can't really see the full effect. But when you're in combat, you're getting hit, and you're hitting others, and you're keeping up your minor and your major heroism alongside your Bloodspawn, alongside your Nord passives, alongside your corpse consumption skills, and of course the corpse dropping on the ground all the time from this particular set, or skill even, it all lines up in the end. Maintain control, spam ultis, have fun. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section below if you've actually tried it and got experience, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.